Friends, welcome to the channel. My name is Honk. The Miasma Priest, the new big bad Deadly Assault boss, is now out on the live servers, and I did this guy quite a lot during the creator beta servers, but we were not allowed to show him off there for spoiler purposes since he does appear in the story. So any sort of showcasing had to wait until he hit live, and I didn't know if there's gonna be any changes or whatnot to him, so I decided today to throw a bunch of teams at him, and I'll show you all how that went. And if you find yourself struggling against this boss, remember what he wants you to do. We need to defensive assist a lot, like within a short span of time. So he will enter into like flurries, where you can do basically like 15 defensive assists like in a row. And like those are your windows to like really do that and rack up some performance points and also rack up some days. Another tip I would say is like save your ultimates, at least like outside of your carries, like your support, your stunner, etc. For when he puts on the shield. For your carry, you're better off using the ultimate like during the stun window. So in this video, there's going to be some teams with an advantage against him, some teams at a disadvantage, some meme teams, and an A-rank team. And there's timestamps to every team. Enjoy!
Engaging. Sniper's Creed. One shot, one kill. Turn, outbound. The melody of combat. Shot
lake of fire, dancing flames growing higher and higher. Echoes of legends, whispers of lore, at the heart of the wild, we're craving for more. Badlands, sweetlands, it's in the grip of the force's fickle hands, yearning for the thrills. It's in the tales of sorrow, etching the sand, through the dust, through the night. Ain't nobody could ride like Johnny the Night. Through the dust, through the night. Ain't nobody could ride like Johnny the Night. Dive, dive, dive. Fire of lake of fire, dancing flames growing higher and higher. Badlands, sweetlands, it's in the grip of the force's fickle hands, yearning for the thrills. It's in the tales of sorrow, etching the sand, through the dust, through the night. Ain't nobody could ride like Johnny the Night. Through the dust, through the night. Ain't nobody could ride like Johnny the Night. Breaking through the storm and face the strife, deep inside the land where wild winds climb. Race against the harsh fate on the sun-baked trail. Sun-baked trail. That sun-baked trail. Through the dust and through the night. Ain't nobody could ride like Johnny the Night. Through the dust and through the night. Ain't nobody could ride like Johnny the Night. Through the dust, through the night. Ain't nobody could ride like Johnny the Night.
welcome back everybody. Hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know down in the comments, what do you think of this boss? Was he as big bad as some people make him out to be? Or, you know, is he kinda alright? In my opinion, just like I said in my old videos, he is one of the easier Deadly Assault bosses we've had. There isn't as much of like, you know, a requirement of a certain team. Instead, you know, anomaly works even though it is at a slight disadvantage. Attackers work, you know, basically all elements goes. Even ice carries if those carries are, you know, invested enough. I know there was a lot of misinformation leading up to the release of this Deadly Assault boss. There were some bold claims made by some bad actors that just wanted to, you know, stir the pot, cause some drama, and once again turn out to be absolutely talking out of their butt. Remember peeps, clowns, they're kind of fun to look at, but they're not great for information. Everybody, until next time, Honk out.
Oh, I wish that you could just take it easy. Lay back, fast away